Hey, what's up, guys? It's your girl, Poppy Britt, and welcome back to the Platicando con Poppy podcast. If it's your first time watching, then thank you. And if you've been here before, then welcome back. I really appreciate everyone that makes time and space for me, and especially the people that take the time to write me after and connect with me on that level and just share where they liked or disliked or whatever about the podcast. So thank you guys for that. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, make sure to give me 5 stars and then make sure to subscribe and give me a like here on YouTube as well. Just cuz, okay? Show me a little love. It costs $0 to give me a like, okay? I actually just got ready for work. I am bartending at Status tonight. I have to be there at 9 and it is 7:30, so I had some extra time and decided I should just sit down and record my podcast. That way I kill like 2 birds with 1 stone. Like, I'm already ready and can look cute for the camera, but then I'll just change and then go to work and have my podcast recorded. So yeah, I really am trying to make time for the podcast, especially now that I invested in a new laptop. And yeah, I'm finally settled into my apartment, and so I'm trying to make it a priority as well. For those of you who don't know, I actually just started a second job, which I am bartending slash doing bottle service at a club downtown called Status, and I am still working at Twin Peaks. A lot of people have been asking me if I'm still working at Twin Peaks, and yes, I am. And at Twin Peaks I mostly serve, but I do bartend there sometimes. At Status I am working as a bottle girl, and that's what I was kind of hired on as, but the manager did mention to me that here and there he might need me. So the first night I was supposed to train as a bottle girl, they actually threw me into bartend, which was super scary because I've never bartended anywhere outside of Twin Peaks. And Twin Peaks is so structured and so corporate and so strict and has everything to the T. So being thrown into a bar that I didn't know where anything was at, I didn't know their prices, I didn't know their system, I literally didn't know anything, and I just got thrown in, was really overwhelming. But I've actually I was bartending on Saturday, and I actually went live to get ready to bartend. I actually just went live as well, but I was literally had a whole panic attack. I had a whole mental breakdown about being so nervous about having to bartend at the club by myself, because it was going to be my first time officially by myself, and I was literally freaking out when I was so nervous, and I was psyching myself out. I was literally getting ready and crying. Mind you, I was so exhausted too, so I was just delirious from not sleeping, but also just so nervous, and I just wanted to do well. And obviously I want to do well, that way that they see that I can hold my own, and eventually when a spot opens up I can bartend full time. Because after bartending on Saturday, I realized it's what I like doing more. It's so weird, living alone. Any little sound, I'm bitch. I freak the fuck out. My fire alarm went out last night, and so it started beeping, and I literally woke up at 2 a.m, freaked the fuck out, was so scared, and I realized it was just my fire alarm. But I had someone in here at 9 a.m. to fix it, because I I get so scared. I'm oh, absolutely not, especially by myself. No, thank you. Any little noise, I'm oh, no. And even when I'm walking in the hallways, I'm very paranoid. If I hear noise behind me, I'm make sure that there's no one following me and stuff. I get so paranoid. But thankfully it's been good so far. No one seems creepy or anything, and I am very at peace in this little space, so it's fine. But anyways, back to that. Yeah, I am gonna be bartending again. It's Wednesday night, so it's supposed to be the busiest bar night, because it's the night before Thanksgiving, so it's considered Blackout Wednesday. Everyone is home for the holidays and they black out, and then just eat food at home tomorrow, y valen mañana at home, and no one has to worry about anything because they're on vacation. So yeah, it should be busy. I was actually scheduled to work at Twin Peaks tonight, But since the manager asked me to bartend, I like switch my schedule so that I can make it that, because I'm like, any opportunity that I have to bartend, I want to take it so that they know that like I'm reliable, que ahí estoy, and like that I'm like eager to like actually be put on as like a bartender. Because with bottle service, like it's just very hit or miss. And like I've realized this is the thing, so many people like think that like being a bottle girl is so easy, fun, easy, quick, fast, a lot of money. But the thing is, like, it actually takes a lot of work and a lot goes into it. And I literally like give all the props to the girls that do bottle service, because they are literally hustlers. Like, they put in work, they secure those tables, and they make sure they get their fucking money, you know? And like going into it is really intimidating, especially because a lot of these girls have been doing bottle service through multiple clubs, already have a built up, like, I don't know, roster of like people that go to them, and like they already have their set clients, and like they just know so many people here. And that's like, it literally hit me so hard that I am not from here as of recently, because like there's so many people in the city that I don't know, and like you can clearly tell that I did not grow up here, because I don't know a lot of people. Like most of the people that I know here in Denver and like Aurora kind of are from college. Like I don't know anybody other than like the people in Greeley, and like obviously they're not up here partying. So I don't know, bottle service does require like a lot of patience. And like for me, this job in general has just been a test to myself. I was talking about this on my live, just saying that like it's just it's testing me, my ability to be in uncomfortable situations, to handle stress, to be thrown into things, and like, you know, just handle it with as much grace as I can and just do my best. And like I keep reminding myself that I wouldn't have the opportunity if people didn't believe that I could do it. So I'm just trying to stay patient and like not let like certain things get me down, and just continue to show up. Because like this is one thing that like people don't talk about. Like for example, last Friday I worked at Twins in the morning, and then at night I had to be at Status, and I was doing bottle service, and I did not secure a table. And like that like seems like, I was like embarrassed to say that, but I'm like, literally I just fucking started. Anyways, I did not have a table, right? So and mind you, it wasn't that busy, but for the whole night I was literally the other girls like bitch, basically. Like I was helping them run signs, I was helping them with whatever they needed, and I was just standing around, and I wasn't making any money. And like it was really, really frustrating, especially because I was so tired from working at Twins that all I wanted to do was go home. But I had to be there till 2 a.m. because that was my schedule. So I had to be there without making any money and just helping other people. And like, it is what it is. You take your L's, but I'm telling myself that it's still like an opportunity to network. It's still an opportunity to like get my podcast out there and like, I don't know, kind of promote myself in that way. So I'm just trying to be patient, but it is very, very, very intimidating, because I just really do not know a lot of people. And it's been really nice too, just because my friends are literally angels sent from heaven, and a lot of them like will come in when I'm working and just kind of like help calm my nerves. So that's always really nice, and that's something that I've been like paying a lot of attention to as well. Now that I have less time, I'm like looking to see who's investing time in me, who's like showing up for me, so I can show up for them and be selective about who I choose to keep around or who I make time for. And I've been telling myself, like, this is what has been my saying for the week, but like, I'm not losing sleep over anyone that's not losing sleep over me. I'm not bending over backwards. I'm not putting myself on fire to keep others warm. So I'm being very reflective and like trying to see like, you know, scheduling out my day and making sure that like I'm using my time wisely and also taking care of myself, but also showing up for the people that I love and pouring into things that pour into me. And it's been really good, honestly. Like, I've had some people worried about me, especially because in my last podcast I was literally crying for 33 minutes. I literally titled it like crying for 33 minutes. But like I always say, I literally have crybaby tattooed on me. I'm a Scorpio moon, and I'm also very like, I love crying. It makes me feel better. And I'm a very firm believer that like emotions are simply that, like they're just emotions. They come and they go. So I just feel whatever I need to whenever I need to. I let them flow. If I get the urge to cry, I will cry, and then the next second I will be okay, and that's okay. And so many people will see me cry and try to comfort me, and I'm like, no, it's literally okay. Like, crying isn't like anything bad. People get so uncomfortable by it. I'm like, it's okay. Like, sometimes people just need to cry. I'm not asking for solutions. Like, I'm not asking for anything. I'm just gonna, like, I just need to cry, and that's it, and I'll be okay. But yeah, I'm good. Everything's good, and we're literally chilling. I am trying to invest my time into the things that matter, and I'm very, very grateful that so many people again continue to push me, especially with this podcast, because I've found that like I really do enjoy this podcast, and it's kind of like what my brain is on 24/7. I'm constantly looking for topics and like finding quotes and stuff that I want to incorporate into my podcast. And I also is a challenge because if I'm sitting here talking about like life lessons and saying I'm gonna do this and saying I'm gonna do that, and I'm manifesting this and I'm manifesting that, then I have to like show up as that and like stand true to that, basically. Like, for me, if I'm saying like I'm trying to be the healthiest version of myself, and that means I'm going to the gym consistently. I've been trying to cut out drinking, minimize it as much as I can. I don't drink at work, or try my best not to, especially like if I'm bartending. And at Twins, I never ever drink. We're not allowed to anyway. But just so I can show up as the best version of myself, trying to get as much sleep as I like can. Also just trying to like say no to things and people without feeling guilty, and just setting those boundaries. So it's been a lot, but it's been really good. And people see me running around everywhere, but it's all good things, thankfully. And I feel like I'm in a good space. And I know that everything that's kind of quote unquote shitty right now is teaching me something or preparing me for something. So I know I'm going to be okay. And I don't know, the holidays are always just like a weird time too, just because my birthday's coming up. So I always get emotional around that time. Just another whole year passed, and just I start to reflect on like the year and like how it went. I actually was on live again. Girl, we get it, you go live. But I was talking to the girls and realized I actually got my bachelor's degree 5 years ago. I graduated in December of 2018. Like, isn't that fucking crazy? Like, where did 5 years of my life go? But then I like, this is going to be my golden birthday. So my birthday is December 26th. So I'm going to be 26, which is crazy. I feel like it's going to be a really good year for me, but I'm just like, I'm literally 26. Like, I'm closer to 30 than I am to like 20. And like, I feel like I'm 30 because I graduated college when I was 20. I graduated 2 weeks before I turned 21. So I just feel like I've always been like in spaces with people who are older. And so yeah, that's, I don't know, it's so crazy. And I feel like there's been so much that has happened since I graduated college. Like, so much growth has happened. Like, I'm a completely different person, like physically, mentally, emotionally, everything. Like, I don't know, it's a lot to reflect on. But yeah, I just wanted to come on here and like kind of talk to you guys about that too. I have a lot of people that ask me like what I do for a living. A lot of people are confused because I'll talk about having been first gen and gone to college and gotten my bachelor's, but then I'm literally a bartender. So like, people are like, what the fuck? So I just wanted to hop on here and talk to you guys about work and what I do for work. A lot of people are confused, and so we're just gonna run it back since my first job, and I'll tell you guys where I've been and what I've done. And I feel like I've had a lot of different like jobs that I've done. And the thing is, like, I sometimes get frustrated because I wish I was one of those people that had like a clear career path, something that they were passionate about and that they just knew was their calling. And I just personally feel like there is not necessarily a job that I see is that for me. And sometimes I feel bad because I'm 26, well, basically 26, and feel like I should have my life more figured out. There's so many of my friends and people I went to school with that are already married, that have houses, that have these careers and 401ks and all of this shit. And then I'm just like every day just trying to figure life out. And like there's this like meme basically saying like my vibe right now is just living life, and that's literally me right now. I'm like, I don't know, all I want to do is be happy. And like when people ask me like what my 5-year plan is, like there's nothing that stresses me out more, because it's not like I don't have a plan as to what I want my life to feel like and look like, but there is not one career path that I'm like setting to be the end all be all. Like I'm not gonna say I want to like what growing up I always said I wanted to be a doctor. I'm not gonna be like, if I'm not a doctor then I didn't make it. Like as long as I'm happy, financially stable, like living life, then I don't care what career, what means that gets me, you know. But to start off, I'm a Capricorn, so that explains a lot as to why I'm like literally addicted to working. Not even addicted, I just like having my own stuff, and so that requires me putting in the work, and that's my motivation. But I actually started working when I was 14 years old. That was before I even had like a work permit, because that's the other thing with me. I actually have a work permit. Since I have DACA, I have a 2-year work permit that I renew every 2 years, and it allows me the ability to work legally in the United States. Had I not had DACA, I would have not had a legal means to work. So I'm always very grateful for my ability to work, and I never take that for granted. But I did start working when I was 14. And I worked where my mom worked. My mom would make tortillas at Tacos y Salsas, and I literally would beg her every single day for her to get me a job to start working there as a mesera. And after literally like half a year, like months and months of me begging every single day, she finally convinced the owners to hire me on as a mesera. And I was literally working my ass off. I was going to Ames Community College to get my CNA license. I was taking AP classes. I was working like crazy, all at the same time. And then finally, when I got my DACA and when I turned 16, I was able to like legally start working. At that point, I already had my CNA license, and I had been volunteering at this like assisted living memory care facility. So they hired me on because they already knew me, and I worked there till I graduated from high school. And then when I went to college, I was still working at that same nursing home. I would literally drive on the weekends to Greeley, like drive an hour, stay the weekend, and just work all weekend, and then go back to Fort Collins. And then I basically did that all through college. I did a serving job as well at Los Comales, but I wasn't a big fan. But I literally worked. Memory care was my favorite. I love, like, being a CNA was one of my favorite jobs in the entire world. People think it's disgusting, but like, you build such beautiful bonds with the old people. Like, I have a soft spot for old people, and especially the ones that have dementia. But like, I love working with them. And so I worked as a CNA all through college. And then my last semester before I graduated, I actually got a job here in Denver with Servicios de la Raza. I was getting people health insurance, and I was driving down here every weekend so that I could work and have a job here for when I graduated. And then I ended up moving to Aurora and worked there. And eventually I got hired at my second job, my second favorite job that I've ever had, which was I was housing the homeless. I talk about this sometimes, and I talk about how I house the homeless. I housed the homeless for 3 years. I got hired on at 21. It was my first job after graduating college. And it was a nonprofit job. It barely paid anything. So I also worked at a gym at Vasa after work to like pay my bills, because nonprofits unfortunately do not pay. Like, it's very rewarding work, but it's very like mentally draining, and it just does not pay, unfortunately. Like, I studied ethnic studies with a double minor in sociology and women's studies. So like anything that comes with like advocating for people, taking care of people, laws, policies, all of that stuff, I'm very, very into advocacy work. But it just does not pay, unfortunately. But I always say this, like, had I not studied that in college, I don't think I would have made it through college because there was nothing else that I was actually passionate about. I'm passionate about learning about people, about helping people in whatever capacity. So I'm very, very grateful for everything that I learned when I was in college. Even though I don't use my degree now, like I always say, it changed my perspective on so much. It changed my worldview on so much. It educated me on so many levels and like gave me experiences that I would have never, ever, ever had I not gone to college, and made me meet people that I would have never met had I not gone to college. So it's a part of me that like I will always, always, always be grateful for, even if I don't use my degree. The thing is, I could use it like at any given point, but unfortunately, like I said, it just does not pay. But it's something that I'm very passionate about. I love advocating for like people's rights, human rights, all of that stuff. So I will never take it for granted that I got my degree, even if I don't use it. But the good thing is that like I can use it whenever I want. And like I remember my freshman year of college, I had a professor that said education is the one thing no one can take from you. And I've always like kept that in the back of my head. So like what I've learned, like no one can take that from me, and it will show up in any aspect of my life and has changed me to be a better person. So I'm very, very grateful for that. But yeah, I did house the homeless for 3 years, and I don't know how the fuck they trusted me, but I ran a program for our housing department, basically, that would get people off the streets and into either an apartment or a hotel. Like I would rent out hotels for them, get them off the street, get them stabilized, start working on getting them documents and stuff so that they could get into housing and get them used to living inside again, get them food, get them clothes, get them everything that they need to prepare them to be in a home. So it was very rewarding, and I loved what I did in it. It's changed my perspective on people experiencing homelessness altogether. And I always say we are way more closer to being homeless than we are to being billionaires. And I think that's very humbling, because I feel like a lot of people look down on people experiencing homelessness, not realizing that it could be them at any given moment. So it taught me a lot. And so I did do that. I've also managed shelters for immigrant refugees, and I was also an advocate for the city attorney. I was victim advocate, but unfortunately for me, I just am not an office job type of girl. I don't like sitting in a 9 to 5. Like, props to the people who can, but I like to be able to run around. I like high-paced environments. I like to talk to people. I like to keep busy, and that's what the service industry does for me. So and it's also really nice that like the worst mistake that I can make is forgetting someone's ranch, rather than like, you know, forgetting to send someone's housing voucher in and them having to sleep outside, you know. So it's very, very different kind of work, but I feel like every job teaches you something. So I never am one to minimize what people do. And like a lot of people think I'm a stripper, especially because of what I wear at work. And at the end of the day, like that's never something shameful to me. I'm like, I have nothing but respect for people who do any kind of sex work, like literally any kind of job. Yeah, that's basically what I do for work. I've gotten asked as well in the past if I make money off social media, and technically I do. But people swear like you make thousands upon thousands of dollars on YouTube and social media, and I really don't. Like I might make $5 a month, if that. Like this is truly like something I just enjoy doing, and like people think that it's just like, okay, you get subscribers and then you make all this money, and that's not even the case. Mind you, I don't even have that many subscribers. Not even like I make money on TikTok and on YouTube, but like I literally do not get paid anything. I actually spend more money on making podcasts than I do getting money back. Like I pay a monthly membership to like record the podcast, and like for the other like website that like distributes my podcast, I have 2 different subscriptions for those. And then I had to literally invest money into this laptop, and I spend so much time editing, and like I've had to purchase equipment, and like so I've literally spent way more money that I've made, but this is something I enjoy doing. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. I feel like my jobs are just a means of me, or like the means to me being able to do what I love. So it is what it is. But yeah, I am actually about to wrap this up because I actually have to get ready for work, and I want to get this podcast edited. That way it's uploading while I'm at work. Once I come back from work, we'll have it ready to go by tomorrow morning. So that's literally my goal. If you guys have any topics that you guys want me to talk about, let me know, because I mean, not everything's going to be inspirational all the fucking time, and that's okay. Sometimes I just want to hop on here and talk to you guys and answer some of the questions that I get the most, but this was one of those where I've gotten a lot of questions. I do want to make an episode about like how not to be an asshole to service industry workers and like tipping and all of that stuff, but I think that's a topic for another time. But I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Happy Thanksgiving if you're watching this during Thanksgiving. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next podcast.